Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. I went this weekend to the Rubicon 3 GT out in Kissimmee, 5-round GT, about 50-ish players. Unfortunately, I had to take Old Wolves because New Wolves aren't officially released yet. For like the last 2 months, first I was out of the country, and then since I've been back, I've been playtesting only New Wolves. So this was my first game with Old Wolves in about 2 months. So I just took the list I was running before with no changes. So it was my Canis Thunderwolf build. There's quite a few videos on the channel about that. I played into Death Guard twice. Won both of those games fairly handily with Canis just deals really, really well with all the Death Shrouds and stuff. He just picks them up pretty easily, especially when they're running the 3-man bricks, not the 6. And then their Shudas, Meltas, and stuff just really aren't efficient into T12. And then the Thunderwolves do well into that stuff. So those games went really well. The Tau game that was, I believe, 94-87 was the final score, a win. He scored 9 Challenger points in that game. I'm not a big fan of the Challenger points, but he scored 9, but I still managed to stay ahead. But it was tight trying to stay ahead with him keep scoring extra 3 points those last 3 rounds. Round 3 was my first loss. It was into it was into Drukari. He was running double plane. I let him get his Incubi into Canis, who was slightly down to like 15 wounds, and they managed to pick him up. I didn't realize they were that efficient into him, so I was trying to do the best to protect Canis from the planes, and I left him open for the Incubi, so that was a huge mistake on my part. If I have to keep playing New Wolves for a while and hit it again, I will screen him better from the Incubi, because once he went down, I had nothing to threaten the planes, because only other shooting I really had in the list was just like bolters, 1 crack missile from the scouts, and 1 Melta on an ATV. So the planes just got to do whatever they wanted after that, and that was really a big deciding factor in that game. Him and I both got Challenger cards that game. I got one first and scored 3, and then he got one the next turn because I managed to do a 15-0 on primary on him. That same turn, I got the Challenger card and really flipped the score. So that was a really tight game, but me losing Canis too early without taking out any of the planes. If he could have taken 1 before he died, probably have a path to a win there. And then last round, I lost to Michael Mann from Art of War, who's running Thousand Suns. He's actually the guy who is running the new Space Wolves for Art of War. So him and I got to talk a lot about the new Wolves, his takes, my takes, where he was wrong. I was trying to correct him. I'm just kidding. But, obviously he's his first Marine Army, so not only is he coming at Space Wolf fresh, he's coming at Marines fresh overall, is where I've only ever played Wolves, so I'm looking at it as coming from Wolves to slightly different Wolves, as he's looking at it from coming from completely different armies to Marines and Wolves. So just we kind of have different views we came at it with, but we have come to there's a few things we agree on that's good, which love me, and then everybody's gonna have slightly different views on certain things. But he seems to be having fun with them. He says he's got some new wolves coming up, painted up, that aren't going to just be wolves in the blue-white John Lennon Marine scheme. They're actually going to be their own Space Wolf scheme that he's going to be running. So keep an eye out for that. Also, Dan Cardona and Hobby Goblins, they do a bunch of Space Wolf content, so should be having some battle reports for wolves on both those channels with the new wolves. But that being said, the Canis build it kind of does what it does. It's very solid, but so many points in Canis that if you misplay and let him die, you kind of have a hard path to victory, which is what I found anytime I make a mistake or don't know what the threats are in an army because I haven't played it, and something can kill Canis that I didn't realize could kill Canis, that list tends to lose. So I think it's a really good list. When it loses, it's probably mostly player skill, which would be my fault. But that being said, next month we're going to ATC, and I'm running Space Wolves, and I have no idea if new wolves will be legal or not. And one of my teammates is taking Imperial Knight, so I cannot run the Canis build. I kind of know what I want to run for new Space Wolves, but I'm not sure what I want, exactly what I'm taking for old wolves, because I can't take the Canis build. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to do here on this video. Is we're going to go in here to, well, this is the current list: Herald, Logan on Storm Rider, Ragnar, 3 battle leaders, one of which has Black Death to run with Herald squad, and then a Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf. 6 Blade Guard to run with Ragnar, 1 Infiltrator squad for just mission play, Scout squad ATV, same thing, mission play, 3 Thunderwolf cavalry squads of 3-mans to run with all the characters, Impulsor, Canis Rex. So this is the current list, very simple, but we can't run Canis, so that's 450 points, and we also have to find out how to replace. His combat's not the hardest thing to replace. I mean, it's good combat, but wolves do combat, so we can find, that's not really what we're going to miss. We're going to miss the shooting and just the big threat. So my thoughts were, all right, so we need shooting. So it's probably going to take us into vehicles. I really, really like Lancers. Where are we? Gladiator Lancer. So I figure I'm going to put at least 1 Lancer in the list. And then I just painted up just built 2 Predator Annihilators. I got to paint them up if new wolves are legal, so I might as well paint them up anyway, so that I'll just take them in either case. Because I played against them against Death Guard and some Marines. So I've played against them fairly recently, and they've done fairly well. So I'm, interested to take them to some events. So we will duplicate the Predator Annihilator. So that's 430 points, which leaves us 20 points from what Canis was. Give him 2 Stormbolters, give him the Iron Hail and the Rockets, just all the free upgrades. And then the Predators, we will give them 2 las cannons, Stormbolter, and the Hunter Killer. And then we will do the same thing for the other Predator. Boom. Las cannons, Stormbolter, Hunter Killer. All right, so what do we do with those other 20 points? Not a lot crazy. Try to find an enhancement. My thought is, where's Battle Line? All right, so where's Mounted? All right, so we drop this ATV. We only took it because we only had 60 points. That gives us 80. So I think that's a good place for a intercessor squad. So we just add in some intercessors, give the sergeant grenade and power fist, and 1 grenade. All right, and that should, oh, that's under 60. What are we going to do? We got to drop one of these. Boom. All right. And that should put us right back to 2,000 points. Boom. So we still got the 3 wolf units, which is still what they do. They go clog up the board, try to deny primary, kill stuff, just be hard to deal with. That's just their goal. That's what they do. Now intercessors can potentially sit back if they don't have really, really big deep strike threats for coming behind and sticky the home and then maybe push up, or that also leaves the infiltrators free to infiltrate other places to deny people dropping in over there. Or if we're fighting like a horde list, we leave the infiltrators back and the intercessors can push up and use their massive shots. In certain games, I found where I can jump Ragnar's squad out of the Impulsor early and jump intercessors in when I've been running them before, so that's always a play. Blade Guard with Ragnar, that's just another decently hard to kill, put out a lot of damage, just pressure. So I got 4 pressure units just to try to keep the fight on their side of the primary objectives as long as possible to try to build the primary lead, which a little harder with challenger points, but I still think that's the best way for index wolves to play. Scouts, infiltrate, scout, uppy downy, just mission. wolves we talked about. And now, instead of Canis for backfield shooting, we have a Lancer and 2 Annihilators. So instead of one big thing, we have 3 things. So there, I'm a little more willing to push one out to get a shots on like a transport or something. So they're easier to trade. At Canis, you can't lose him for too little. You can't push him out to kill a rhino to expose something, and then he dies back. So you could do that with like a Lancer or a Predator potentially, risk them. So they don't have the melee threat he had on the top of the shooting, but they've got good shooting, and this army already melee as well. So I think that'll be fine. And it gives us technically 2 extra units. So if we had to, we could. 1, it gives us more board presence, and 2, something could do an action or something if we absolutely needed it to. And then the Impulse we're talking about, that's just for Ragnar to ride in, do actions, screen, possibly let the intercessors jump in. So I've been reluctant to drop Canis and rebuild stuff because I've been spending most of my time on new wolves. But with the uncertainty of ATC and the fact that I can't take Canis because we already have knights, that just gave me a little incentive to tweak this list. I still think this is pretty good. It may end up being better with the intercessors instead of the ATV and 3 units to shoot instead of 1. So I actually can get different lanes to shoot at different stuff. And I don't have to be as scared of losing them. So maybe I can be more aggressive with them. So I got an RTTT this weekend. Well, next 2 weekends. And then we got RTTs coming up. And then I'm going to ATC. I'm going to Nova. I'm going to Crucible. So I got a bunch of big events coming up. ATC 50-50, probably less than that. I'm probably 75% sure I'm gonna have to take Index Wolves. But after that, I'm hoping Nova and Crucible will be able to be new wolves. But we'll keep you guys updated on that. So that's my thoughts on this list and how I think it'll play. Please, like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. The channel's growing really fast now. With us becoming YouTube partners and also with the new Space Wolf release, so people are looking for Space Wolf stuff more. The channel's just really taken off in like the last month compared to what it had been doing, and I just really appreciate that from everybody. We do now have an official merch store. There's a link on the posts on here. There's a link on our Facebook page. We don't make much off that, like a couple bucks. So it's like, if you want some cool stuff just to wear our logo, that's cool. That's where you can do it. But it really doesn't support the channel much money wise. So like, don't feel pressure to do that. Super chats when we do lives. Buying the almost functional score tracker off Amazon gives us a few bucks. Anything like that actually helps me make back the money I'm putting into the channel, because right now with subscriptions and stuff, the channel actually loses me money every month and has been since I started. I'd love to at some point get to the point where the channel breaks even. That's my goal. Break even so I can keep talking because I enjoy talking and actually not be investing money into it. It just covers itself. But enough about that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Tuesday, tomorrow night, Aiden and I will be on with the Wolf Council. So we will see you then.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional Score Tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.